Namaste, Namaskara. In a world where popular music dominates most of our musical outlook, some of us still have a special place for classical music in our hearts. Classical Indian music, Hindustani, Carnatic, and everything in between is an astonishing mine of culture, science, rhythm, expression, spirituality, and art. Unfortunately, Indian classical music is often mysterious and unapproachable for those who haven't taken the formal training route. But it doesn't have to be this way. Just Classical Indian Things is a heartfelt attempt at making classical music engaging for everyone, no matter how your relations with classical music have been in the past. We hope to show you what excites us most about classical music and our rich Indian heritage. We have put together an audio-visual sequence of our favorite pieces along with introductions to fascinating key concepts along the way. We're hoping to keep you hooked throughout. Watch out for exciting myths about the origins of various ideas and the sublime beauty of how Indian classical music transcends intangible emotions and moods. My name is Debashi, Namaste, and welcome to Just Classical Indian Things.
Before we start off, here's a quick introduction to all the members of Sargam Club who are an integral part of this endeavor. From the Hindustani camp, we have Chaitali Karekar, Ketan Vibhandik, Dhyaan Sandeep Nayak, and Debashi Das. On the other side, from a more ancient tradition, the Carnatic classical camp, we have Pranathi, Sai Datta, and Hiranmai. Namaskara everyone, my name is Sivi. What is the point of art? Most people agree that art is a way of expressing a variety of emotions and opinions, right from satirical cartoons to soulful romantic music. Art has a way of articulating the difficult to express. In traditional Indian art, literature, and aesthetic, we have an inventive way to converse about the various themes, moods, and emotions that art deals with. Instead of calling a song happy or sad, we have fancy words like Shringar, Karunyam, Hasyam, and Viram Rasa. A rasa refers to the essence or main theme of any piece of art that evokes an emotion or feeling in the audience but cannot be described. Ancient Sanskrit scriptures such as the Natya Shastra have dedicated chapters on rasa theory, trying to understand the effects of various elements on the audience. You might be aware of the 9 rasas described in popular literature. Although they cannot be translated very accurately, here's a list of the Navarasas and the main themes that they revolve around. It is customary in Indian culture to begin everything auspicious with an invocation of God. We now have Pranathi who will lead us in this beautiful devotional Raagmalika, Shri Chakra Raja Simhaasaneshwari.
Shri Chakra Raja Simhaasaneshwari Shri Lalitambike Shri Chakra Raja Simhaasaneshwari Shri Lalitambike Bhuvaneshwari Shri Chakra Raja Simhaasaneshwari Shri Lalitambike Bhuvaneshwari Agama Veda Kalamaya Rupini Agama Veda Kalamaya Rupini Akhila Charachara Janani Narayani Nagakankana Nataraja Manohari Nagakankana Nataraja Manohari Jnana Vidyeshwari Raja Rajeshwari Jnana Vidyeshwari राजराजेश्वरी श्री चक्रराज सिंहासनेश्वरी श्री ललिताम्बिके பலவிதமாயுன்னை ஆடவும் பாடவும் பலவிதமாயுன்னை ஆடவும் பாடவும் பாடிக்கொண்டாடும் அன்பர் பதமலர் சூடவும் பாடிக்கொண்டாடும் அன்பர் பதமலர் சூடவும் உலகம் முழுதும் என தகமுற காணவும் உலகம் முழுதும் என தகமுற காணவும் ஒரு நிலை தருவாய் காஞ்சி காமேஸ்வரி ஒரு நிலை தருவாய் காஞ்சி காமேஸ்வரி ஸ்ரீ சக்கரராஜ सिंहासनेश्वरी श्री ललिताम्बिके துன்பப்புதட்டிலிட்டு தூயவனாக்கி வைத்தாய் தொடர்ந்த முன்மாயை நீக்கி பிறந்த பயனை தந்தாய் துன்பப்புதட்டிலிட்டு தூயவனாக்கி வைத்தாய் தொடர்ந்த முன்மாயை நீக்கி பிறந்த பயனை தந்தாய் அன்பை புகட்டி உந்தன் ஆதலை காண செய்தாய் அன்பை புகட்டி உந்தன் ஆதலை காண செய்தாய் அடைக்கலம் நீயே அம்மா அடைக்கலம் நீயே அம்மா அகிலாண்டேஸ்வரி அடைக்கலம் நீயே அம்மா அகிலாண்டேஸ்வரி ஸ்ரீ சக்கரராஜ सिंहासनेश्वरी श्रीललिताम्बिके भुवनेश्वरी आगमवेद कलामयरूपिणी अखिलचराचर जननी नारायणी नागकङ्कण नटराज मनोहरी नागकङ्कण नटराज मनोहरी ज्ञानविद्येश्वरी राजराजेश्वरी ज्ञानविद्येश्वरी राजराजेश्वरी श्रीचक्रराज सिंहासनेश्वरी श्रीललिताम्बिके
We have all heard of rags or ragas or ragams. But what are they all about? A rag is basically a melodic framework based on which various songs are composed. They're kind of made up of invisible rules that a shishya or student learns by observing his or her guru. Rags have a few hard rules about which notes you can and cannot use. But the beauty of ragas is in how they manage to capture various moods or vibes. A person familiar with a particular raga will be able to identify it on hearing it, no matter what the composition is, providing a different plane of expression for emotions that are difficult to put down in words. Raag Vihaag is based on Tat Bilawal. A tat is analogous to the idea of scales in Western music. It basically provides a few ground rules for what notes you can and cannot use. In Tat Bilawal, for example, you can use all the 7 simple notes Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, Pa, Dha and Ni. Observe how Raag Vihaag is a particularly melodious rag. Try to describe it in words when it's over. You'll find that you're looking for a word that means sweet, but just isn't quite right. To illustrate the fascinating idea of a raga, we now have Ketan, who will present a bandish, Latt Ulajhi, in Raag Vihaag.
Sargam pani sa sa ni dha pa ma ga ma ga re sa तबला लट उलझी सुलझा जा बालमा लट उलझी सुलझा जा बालमा हाथन मेहंदी लगी मोरे बालमा हाथन मेहंदी लगी मोरे बालमा लट उलझी सुलझा जा बालमा माथे की बिंदिया बिखर गई मोरी माथे की बिंदिया माथे की बिंदिया माथे की बिंदिया बिखर गई मोरी माथे की बिंदिया बिखर गई मोरी अपने हाथ लगा जा बालमा अपने हाथ लगा जा बालमा हाथन मेहंदी लगी मोरे बालमा हाथन मेहंदी लगी मोरे बालमा लट उलझी सुलझा जा बालमा लट उलझी सुलनि सगम पम गम गरे सा लट उलझी सुलनि सगम पनि ध पम प गम गरे सा लट उलझी सुलझा जा सुलझा जा सुलझा जा बालमा
Indian classical music can be traced back to Vedic literature with mentions of melodic ideas like notes and octaves. Post-Vedic documentation is mostly in Sanskrit, including the Natya Shastra, which is probably the most famous ancient treatise on Indian music and art forms. Carnatic classical music evolved in the southern part of India, characterized by logical classification of ragas and songs with fixed compositions. Hindustani classical music bifurcated from the ancient Carnatic tradition and continued to evolve in the north, with Arab and Persian influences during the medieval period. A Krithi is a song format of Carnatic classical music. We now have Hiranmai, who will render a beautiful Krithi in Gambhira Natya Raagam, composed by Annamacharya.
Tiru Tiru Javarala Ditti Tiru Tiru Javarala Ditti Ee Taralamaina Ni Tarahara Masure Tiru Tiru Javarala Ditti Ee Taralamaina Ni Tarahara Madhure Tiru Tiru Javarala Ditti Sa sa ni sa ga sa ma ga sa sa ni sa ga sa pa ma ga sa ni sa ga sa ma ga sa ni sa ga sa pa ma ga sa ga ga ma pa ni ni sa ga ma ga sa ni pa ma ga sa ni sa ga ma धिमि धिम्कि तङ्ग तङ्ग दिद्दिमिक्कि आरे ममारे पात्रा रावु मज्जा मज्जा धिमि धिम्कि तङ्ग तङ्ग दिद्दिमिक्कि आरे ममारे पात्रा रावु मज्जा मज्जा कामाला नावुनि तमक पपिन्ति नीकु కామాలా నావుని తమక పింతి నీకు అమరే తీరుపు ఇదే అవతరించగదు కామాలా నావుని తమక పింతి నీకు అమరే తీరుపు ఇదే అవతరించగదు తిరు తిరు జవరాల తిత్తి తిత్తి ఈ తరళమైన నీ తారహార మధురే తిరు తిరు జవరాల తిత్తి తిత్తి సాసని సగస మగస సాసని సగస పమగస సాసని సగస మగస సాసని సగస పమగస సాస గమ గమ పని పాపని నిస పని సగ బాధ సాని పామగ సని సగ గ సగ మమ్మ మాయి మాయి అలమేలు మంగానాచారి మతిబాయని వెంకటపతి పట్టపురాణి మాయి మాయి అలమేలు మంగానాచారి మతిబాయని వెంకటపతి పట్టపురాణి రోయ చిరుగజ్జలని మ్రోతాలని రోయ చిరుగజ్జలని మ్రోతాలని సోయగమైన నీ సొలపు చూపమరే రోయ చిరుగజ్జలని మ్రోతాలని సోయగమైన నీ సొలపు చూపమరే తిరు తిరు జవరాల దిత్తిత్తి ఈ తరళమైన నీ తారహార మధురే తిరు తిరు జవరాల తిత్తిత్తి తిరు తిరు జవరాల తిత్తిత్తి తిరు తిరు జవరాల తిత్తిత్తి తిత్తిత్తి తిత్తిత్తి
Indian classical music is characterized by an eclectic variety of instruments. Exquisite string instruments are the veena, sitar, sarod, and tanpura. The constant drone that you hear in the background of nearly every song is the tanpura. Among bowed instruments are the sarangi and violin. In the percussion ensemble, the tabla, pakhavaj, mridangam, and ghatam are very popular. The bansuri, shanai, and harmonium are some important wind instruments. Dhyaan will now beautifully illustrate Raag Hamsadhwani with the Bansuri or the Indian flute.
One of the most fascinating things about Indian classical music, generally unheard of in other cultures, is the concept of Gayan Samay. The ragas have a special time of day and sometimes a specific season associated with them. For example, the Raag Bhairav is meant to be sung early in the morning, while Raag Shankara is meant to be sung in the middle of the night. Raag Meghmallar is meant to be sung during the monsoons. Legend has it that Tansen, one of the 9 jewels of Akbar's court, could summon the rains by singing Raag Meghmallar. We now have Chaitali, who will present a beautiful bandish about Lord Shankara in Raag Shankara. Coincidence? Not really. This rag is named after Lord Shankara, also known as Shiva, because it is highly inspired by the artistic, capricious, powerful and heroic personality associated with the Lord.
Jaya Bo
Just like all the music cultures in the world, the songs in Indian classical music also tend to follow certain formats. Like we have ballads and sonnets in Western poetry, we have well-defined composition formats such as Khyal, Tarana, Dhrupad, Thumri, Ghazal and Chaturang in Hindustani classical music, while we have Krithi and Varnam in Carnatic classical music. All these formats have interesting domains and rhythm choices associated with them. For example, the Dhrupad is a format where you sing the same song in normal speed, then twice the speed, then thrice the speed, and then 4 times the speed, and if you're feeling extra daring, even 6 times the speed. We now have Devashi, who will render a Chaturang in the Raag Adana, a song about Holi, the festival of colors. Let's talk about famous composers and themes. Carnatic classical music cannot be talked about without paying tribute to Tyagaraja. The 18th century poet was highly influential in the development of classical music and composed over thousands of songs, most of which revolved around the life of Lord Rama. The Ramayana is probably one of the most famous themes in Carnatic music, while the life of Lord Krishna is a super popular theme with Hindustani classical. We now have Sai Datta, who will render an eminent Tyagaraja composition, which is based on, you guessed it, the Ramayana.
ಬಂಟೂರೇತಿ ಕೊಲುವು ಇಯವಯ್ಯ ರಾಮ 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 ತುಂಟ ವಿಂಟಿವಾಣಿ ತುಂಟ ವಿಂಟಿವಾಣಿ ಮೊದಲೈನಾ ತುಂಟ ವಿಂಟಿವಾಣಿ ಮೊದಲೈನಾ ತುಂಟ ವಿಂಟಿವಾಣಿ మొదలైన మదాదులగొట్టినేల కులజేయు నిజ తుంట వింటివాణి మొదలైన మదాదులగొట్టినేల గులజేయు నిజ ಬಂಟೂರೇತಿ ಕೊಲುವು ಇಯವಯ್ಯ ರಾಮ ಬಂಟೂರೇತಿ ಕೊಲುವು ಇಯವಯ್ಯ ರಾಮ ಬಂಟೂರೇತಿ ಕೊಲುವು ಇಯವಯ್ಯ ರಾಮ రోమాంచమని గణకంచుకము రామభక్తుడనే ముద్రబిల్లయు రోమాంచమని గణకంచుకము రామభక్తుడనే ముద్రబిల్లయు రామనామమనే రామనామమణి వరగర్గమివి రామనామమణి వరగర్గమివి రామనామమణి వరగర్గమివి రాజిల్లునయ్య త్యాగరాజునికే రామనామమణి వరగర్గమివి రాజిల్లునయ్య త్యాగరాజునికే ಬಂಟೂರೇತಿ ಕೊಲುವು ಇಯವಯ್ಯ ರಾಮ ಬಂಟೂರೇತಿ ಕೊಲುವು ಇಯವಯ್ಯ ರಾಮ ಬಂಟೂರೇತಿ ಕೊಲುವು ಇಯವಯ್ಯ ರಾಮ ಬಂಟೂರೇತಿ ಕೊಲುವು ಇಯವಯ್ಯ ರಾಮ
Modern and popular music is derived from Indian classical music more often than we realize. Numerous movie numbers that have been tested by the times and emerged as evergreen hits are often lightly based on certain ragas. The Thumri is synonymous with light classical music. It is the flag bearer of a revolutionary idea. Start with the rich framework of a raga, but go ahead and break all the classical rules if you want. For the last performance of the night, we now have Devashi, who will present a Thumri by a modern day composer trio that we all have heard of, Shankar, Ehsan, Loy.
लाख बहार कचता समझ न पा रूठ पिया को कैसे मनाऊं भेद जिया के किसको दिखाऊं किसको बताऊं कलेस हो कढ़ाई न छोड़ दे कलाई दुहाई भूले न जा बरवे मोरे सैया मैं लागू तो भैया बनवा ना जाऊं परदेस लागे जिया को लागे जिया को लागे जिया को लागे जिया को लागे जिया
With that, we come to the end of this exciting journey of just classical Indian things. We hope that you found a little bit of acceptance in Indian classical music, and that Indian classical music found a little bit of acceptance in you. We intend to hang on to our precious culture forever and hope that you feel the same way. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of this endeavor. Here is our grateful team from Sargam Club signing off. Thank you. Dhanyavad. Dhanyavadam.